Hello, my friends, and welcome to another episode. I'm so excited you are here because today I want to talk to you about something very important and serious for a lot of you. I want to teach you how to love your job when you don't like it. That might sound kind of impossible. You might be thinking, why would I love it if I don't like it? A lot of you are stuck in careers that you don't want to be in. And there could be a million reasons for that. Maybe you have to stay to pay off debt. Maybe you signed a contract to stay on for a certain amount of time. Maybe you want to stay in this job because it helps your resume and you want to network in order to get you where you want to go. There's a lot of reasons where our short-term goal doesn't align with what we want to do long-term in our life. We know we're not going to be here forever. We know we don't love it, but we have to do the hard thing and stay. Maybe it's because you don't know what else you would do and you're trying to give yourself some time to figure that out, to explore, to try new things. I love that for you. But the fact remains that we have to stay somewhere that we don't like. And I help people learn how to manage that, learn how to deal with that so that you're not miserable the whole time, so that you're not dreading Monday and living for Friday and hating your life. And so today I want to give you kind of 4 tips that I want you to think about in order to help you actually like where you're at, love your job, even if you don't like it, okay? The first thing that I want you to think about and that I want you to do is I want you to find one thing that you do like about it. I don't care if it's the coffee that they serve in the cafeteria. I don't care if it's just the money. That's a great reason to love a job. Like when that paycheck hits every 2 weeks, my bank account, I love it. It's the best feeling. I love that security. I love knowing it's going to come. I love knowing that I can pay my bills. I love that I can take care of myself. I love that about this job, and that's the only thing I love. Fine. We're going to focus on that. I want you to think about the way that your brain works. Like whatever you focus on, the energy around it grows. I'm going to give you a quick example. Have you ever been like annoyed by something really small? Let's say like the way someone chews or laughs or something. You're around them and you're like, oh God, that's kind of annoying. You start focusing on it. You start noticing it. You start seeing it every time they're around, and it starts growing and growing. And you start getting to the point where you're like, I'm going to murder them. I can't be around this person. I cannot listen to them chew this loud again, right? It's not as though the act of their chewing changed. It's that your focus changed. It went from this thing like that you slightly noticed to be like being annoying to something that is now like taking over all of your awareness, and it's grating on your nerves. And this happens all the time for all of us. The same thing is true with positive things, by the way. That is why study after study has shown that like one of the easiest and most effective ways of increasing happiness in your life is to have a gratitude journal. I know it sounds woo-woo and we want to kind of write it off, but it will truly change your life, and it takes 5 minutes a day. And all it is for you to look for something you're grateful for that day and write it down. Because what happens is that your brain starts scanning your environment, looking for things to come up with to be grateful for. If you tell your brain like, every day I want to like find something new that I'm grateful for, your brain will start scanning, looking for that. The same way that let's say you want to buy a new car and all of a sudden you see that car everywhere, your brain will show you the things that you tell it is important to you, right? The rest of it filters out. We get so much information all the time. Our brain has to filter out almost like 90% of it. And so it starts letting in the things that you're like, this is important to me. So when you tell your brain, like, I want to look for things that are going well in my life, I want to go look for things that are going right, it starts looking for those things. And lo and behold, you start finding a lot of those things because most things actually go right in your life. Most things are going according to plan. You make it to work on time. You don't get in a car accident. You don't get pulled over. You get your work done. No big, huge accidents happen. You make it home on time. Everybody's healthy. Like all of those things are really good things that happen. But on our day-to-day, we just kind of brush over them, right? When you start seeking it out, you start seeing it. The same thing happens at your job. When you are unhappy somewhere, you tend to look for all the things you hate. And then those things grow, right? You look for the coworker that you hate that's annoying, and then all you can do is just hear their annoying chatter all day, every day, right? You look for how your boss is micromanaging, and then even before he opens his mouth, you're like, I know it. I know he's going to come micromanage something. I know he's going to say something to me that's going to piss me off. You're seeking it out. And that starts growing and growing. This is what happens with so many people who start out like at a job that's, maybe not their favorite, but it's not toxic. It's not like an abusive place. It's just a job. And they start out being like, oh, this is kind of annoying, or this person's annoying. And then it gets to the point where they're like, I cannot stand it here. I have to quit. I can't be here one more day. This is going to drive me nuts. Nothing has actually happened. Again, like you're getting paid to do a task, but you've made it so big in your head that, the way this person acts, the way that person talks, the way they give assignments, the way they, record time, the way they give their paychecks, whatever is annoying, I'm just going to keep focusing it on. I'm going to bitch about it to my coworkers. I'm going to come home and bitch about it to my spouse. I'm going to talk about it with my friends. I'm going to talk about how terrible everything else. And then my unhappiness just grows. I'm not actually changing anything. I'm not quitting. I'm still staying here. I'm just going to make myself more unhappy. And so I want you to shift that focus. I want you to look for the things that are actually okay. I want you to look for, like, even if it's just the paycheck, like, hey, I signed up to do a job to get that paycheck. And that is a mighty nice paycheck I get. And I'm just going to think about all the things I'm grateful for from that paycheck, right? Or maybe it's something else. Like, I know for me, I never realized how much I actually really loved having coworkers and not working alone, and being able to chit chat with people. I'm a outgoing person and I like having that kind of human connection. And now that I work for myself and I'm alone a lot of the time, I miss that. And I realized I was never grateful enough for that when I worked in an office. So you can also think about, like, what are things that I'm gonna miss when I leave? Maybe it's my office BFF. Maybe it's like the free lunch program. Maybe it's doing some interesting work. Like, no matter how annoying everybody is, I actually like what I'm doing. Whatever it is, I want you to find it, and I want you to focus on it, and I want you to bring it to your awareness, and I want you to think about how great it is, and I want you to think about other things that are great at that job. I think this isn't the same as, like, act like everything's happy, put on a happy face, like toxic positivity. You cannot like it, and you can know that you want to leave. You can also do that without making yourself miserable every day. You can decide, like, this is not going to be my long term, and I'm going to choose to move to the next thing in my life without making it worse than it has to be. So that's number one. Number two is you have to understand the concept that everywhere you work, anywhere you go, it's going to be 50-50. And what I mean by that is that it's going to be both good and bad. It doesn't matter if it's your dream job. I promise you. It doesn't matter how fulfilled and wonderful it is. There will be half the things that you don't like doing. It's the nature of everything in life. And I think that one of the biggest misconceptions we've been taught is that there is some place where it's going to be rainbows and butterflies. We're going to love it. Everything's going to be wonderful. And I hate to be the bearer of that bad news, but there just isn't. I can tell you, like, right now, I love my business. I absolutely love mindset coaching. I love helping people. I love so many aspects of it. And I hate 50% of it, because while I may love the podcast and I love coming up with content ideas and I love coaching, I hate the back end. I hate figuring out taxes and figuring out content calendars and figuring out all the new technology and, looking at what is working and what isn't and all that. I'm not very detail oriented. So, like, anything that's very detail oriented is just not my jam. But guess what? That is what's required in any business. There's gonna be both. And I think there's so many people that it's such a disservice to not understand this concept, because a lot of you will go to a different job hoping that the next job is just going to magically fix everything. And you're going to go there and some things are going to be great. Maybe you're going to have coworkers you like, or you're going to work on matters that are really fulfilling. But there's going to be a lot of things you're not going to like. There's going to be another coworker that you don't like, or the clients are going to be too demanding, or the deadlines are unreasonable, or the software you use is clunky and out of date, whatever it is. And I think that what happens is that we end up then feeling like, is there something wrong with me? I'm never going to be happy anywhere. As opposed to knowing, like, this is just going to be the way that it is anywhere. Now, it's not to say that it can't be a different set of 50-50, right? For me, when I was working as a lawyer, I had a lot of stress, a lot of frustration, a lot of boredom, a lot of unfulfillment. I also felt very secure. I had like a really good salary. I felt successful. My ego was doing real great because people thought I was a success. That was kind of my 50-50. When I became an entrepreneur, I don't have the same security, right? So my 50-50 is like there's a lot of instability. There's a lot of insecurity around that. There was a lot of like fear of failing in front of people and fear of being judged. Like that was the negative emotion, the 50% I had to deal with. But on the other side, I was very fulfilled, and I am very excited about a lot of the work that I do, and I feel super passionate about a lot of these things. And so again, it might be different, and it's not to say that you can't seek something that is more aligned with you. I just want you to know that when you go, it's going to be like that too. And I tell you that right now where you're at so that you can know like I think a lot of times we think I'm missing out on something where I'm going to go and it's going to be 100% wonderful, and it's not. So maybe I can slow down. Like maybe the fact that I have to stay here is like, yeah, it sucks, but I'm going to have to deal with 50-50 there anyways. So if I'm going to like get a benefit here because I'm going to network or I'm going to make money or I'm going to pay off debt or whatever it might be, maybe I can focus on like what's the 50-50 that's good here? Like what's the 50-50 that I can deal with? And I can know like, yes, I can go for bigger and better things, and I'm still going to have to deal with some unwanted aspects of the next job. There is no rush. Like even if it takes me another year here, there's no like utopia that I'm going to. The third thing that I want you to think about is the fact that there's a difference between short-term and long-term goals. I think for a lot of people, we think there's just one goal. And so we get really antsy and frustrated when we can't act on that goal. So let's say my goal is to become a writer, just randomly. Let's say I want to become an author. In my mind, I start like kind of focusing in on like, well, I'm not doing that right now. I'm at this job, and every day that goes by in this job, I'm not working on becoming a writer, right? Or I'm not working on my craft, or I'm not, and I look at other people on social media and I compare myself to other people that are publishing things, and I get more and more upset. But you really have to understand the difference between your short-term and your long-term goals. And oftentimes, your short-term goals are what are going to set you up to be able to go after your long-term goals. It's like building a foundation. It's like brick by brick, you're building these goals and these dreams that you have. And what a beautiful thing it is. But you have to know, like, what is the short-term goal here that is setting me up, right? Maybe I'm not working as an author right now, but I am working at a job to pay off my debt so that I can be a writer without crushing student loans. Like, I'm hooking my future self up with that, right? I am setting myself up so that I don't have to deal with this debt when I have a job as an author that may not be as stable. That could be my short term that's helping me get to the place I want to be, right? Maybe it's that I need to network here and I need to get certain connections before I try to grow my own business, right? My short term goal, if I focus on like, fine, then I'm going to knock this out of the park. I'm going to network my little booty off. I am going to make as many connections as I can because that is what I'm focused on here. And I don't have to keep berating myself or losing focus on the fact of like, well, I'm not building my business. The more I'm doing this, I'm not doing that. It's like, but this is building towards that. And so I want you to really think about like, what is your short-term goal here and how is that setting you up to go after bigger and better dreams later on? How does that fit into the plan? Because when you have that purpose behind why you're doing it, and it's not just simply like, I'm just wasting my life away somewhere that I don't want to be, it becomes easier to bear it. It becomes easier to know the purpose behind what you're doing and make that a little bit more purposeful, for lack of a better word. Like make it that there's a reason that I am here. And that reason will ultimately hook my future self up. And I'm excited about that, right? And the last thing that I want you to think about is this concept that your life is in seasons. We are not taught this in our society by any means. The way that our hustle culture and capitalism has sort of groomed us all to believe, like programmed us, is that we are robots and that we are going to have the same level of output and we're going to have the same level of productivity and we should be the same person year in and year out, season in, season out. We should always be able to do the same exact thing, which when you think about it consciously is absurd, right? No human being works like that. Like there's obviously going to be times when you're sick or you didn't sleep at night or you have young kids or you're taking care of your elderly parents or you have a bad breakup or whatever it is, right? Where your emotions are in the way, where you are physically maybe not able to, work in the same way. That is not a weakness. That is literally life. And every single one of us is going to go through it, has gone through it, will go through it multiple times. And the more you start looking at your life in seasons, the easier it becomes to handle when you're in a particular season that may not be the most exciting or the one you want to be in, right? You might be in a season right now where you have young kids and maybe it's not the time to go hard on your business. Like maybe it is the time to stay in a job that provides you healthcare and, is stable enough for you to be able to take care of your small children. Or maybe it is a season where you're going through depression and you don't have the capacity to build a business on the side. That's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. And I think that the more we start understanding how long our lives are and how much time we have to live and work, and that these seasons are going to come and go, and it's just that it is a season. There will come a season where you can push hard, where maybe you don't have as much responsibility, where you do have the capacity to do more. Great. Then when that season comes, then you can let yourself go full out. The problem in our society is that we try to go full out all the time for years and years and decades. And then we wonder why we burn out. We wonder why we can't maintain it. Because you were never meant to. It was never meant to be the way that your life was supposed to be. Just because we set that up in society doesn't mean that that's how it's supposed to be. And so I want you to really think about, what is the season that you're in right now? Maybe this season is, like we talked about with the short-term goal, setting yourself up for a later season. Maybe this is a season to take the foot off the gas and give yourself some breathing room and let yourself just be. Maybe it's a season to take care of other important things like your family and your community and not your career. That's okay too. All of it's okay. And I think that when you're running your own race, somebody else might be in a season where they're going hard and you're going to see their business flourish and they're going to put, everything they can and they're going to press down on the gas. Great. That's their season. I guarantee you they're going to get to a season where that's going to stop. It's not a good or a bad thing. It just is what it is. And so when you can start putting the blinders on and really asking yourself, what season am I in? And how do I take care of myself in this season? How do I have compassion for myself and give myself grace and show up for myself and have my own back? That this is the season and it will change. I promise you it will change. And I will have more time and I will have more energy and I will have, once I take care of whatever it is I need to take care of in this short term, I can have another period where it's go time. And how great is that? And then that season will end. And I feel like when you understand that concept, it becomes easier to not get into this all or nothing thinking of this is the end. I'm just going to be at this job forever. It's never going to change. I'm never going to be happy. I'm never going to find anything, which is not true. And so you have to remind yourself of those 4 things. I think if you look for the thing that you do like at your job, if you focus on the 50-50 that is here and what is the good part and what is the bad, if you know your short-term goals versus your long-term goals and you look at your life as seasons, it makes it so much more bearable to be where you're at, to let yourself exhale a little bit, to let yourself understand that everything doesn't have to change or be different right now. I'm telling you, it is available to you to be able to actually like where you are, even if you don't love the job. It's available to you to manage your own mind so that you're not constantly dreading it and hating your life, even if this career is not it for you. You still don't have to hate the day-to-day. And if you want help with that, if you want to learn how to manage your mind and manage your thoughts so that you're not dreading every day, I want you to join me in the Quitter Club, which is my membership. You can go to lessonsfromaquitter.com/quitterclub, where we do this work, where you get the coaching, where you learn how to apply this stuff to your situation so that you can actually not hate the majority of your day every day during your waking hours and all of your adult life. And we can start kind of figuring out the season you're in now and setting you up for that long-term goal when you change seasons later. All right, my friends, I hope that this was helpful, and I will see you next week for another episode.